The beauty of creativity. Who doesn't like creativity? You know, recently I was helping a board of directors select the next CEO in the company, and I was providing some advice and counsel on that. And they had two leading candidates, both smart, both capable, both experienced. But one of them, let's call him Michael. Michael, when he looked at a problem, tended to think about how to cut back on, how to cut costs, how to retrench, how to be efficient. He was pretty risk averse. And the other candidate, we'll call him Simon, always looked for growth opportunities, was always thinking about how to be more creative. Which one would you pick? Which one should they pick? Well, it depends on the situation, to be sure, but my money is almost always on the creative person. It's on the person that's going to look for, by nature and by intent, going to look for the opportunity to grow, to create new things, to innovate, to be creative. And the good news about all this is all of us can be creative. It's not the type of thing that, you know, either you're born creative or you're not born creative. People say that sometimes, but they're completely wrong. I know some people are more creative than others. That's obvious. And I'm not going to tell you you're going to become Picasso. I know that I'll never be anything like any great artist. That's obvious. But does that mean that we're relegated to wherever we started in life and can't get any better? Why do you want to accept that constraint on your life? I don't think it's true. I think we all could get better. And one of the ways to get better is to just start thinking about it and start saying, you know what, let's look for opportunities to be creative. I find, and maybe you do too, that there are points in the day, almost every day, when you can be creative, when your mind just kind of opens up and it's relaxed and you think about things. For me, it's in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth. It's a mindless activity, you're just brushing, it takes 2 minutes, boom. And the mind just kind of goes into its own space. We require so little of ourselves to brush our teeth. And so all kinds of ideas start popping in my head, almost like corn kernels kind of popping if you think about it. And my problem that I've got is I got to try to remember all those when the 2 minutes of toothbrushing is over. How about when you're falling asleep or when you're sleeping? There's a lot of research that says that our brains are going crazy when we're sleeping and thinking about all sorts of things. It's a very famous story, actually, of Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones. He used to get ideas in the middle of the night and wake up, and so what he did is he would keep his guitar by his bed. And so one time he woke up in the middle of the night and he had some tune in his head, so he started strumming the guitar and had a recording device on at the same time. And then he went back to sleep. He woke up the next morning and he listened to what was on the recording device. And you know what it was? The first chord of Satisfaction. I can't get no. Pretty cool, huh? Not all of us could be Keith Richards, to be sure. And we don't have to wait for the creative muse to hit. There are actually some things we could do. Ask yourself a few questions. I mean, even ask yourself a simple question like, what can we do that's different? How can we do this differently? Think about what you do for a living. Think about what you do in everyday life and ask that question. Ask yourself, what can we borrow or adapt from some other world? What type of idea can come to you from just observing what's going on around you? How can we do things faster or quicker or smoother? How can we adjust the pattern, rearrange the process? There's so many questions you could ask yourself that sometimes, maybe not all of them, but maybe one of those questions will trigger a new thought, a new way of thinking. But we could do some really practical things as well. How about, how do you get home every day at the end of the day? Do you follow exactly the same route? Maybe a little bit of maybe a different route might actually be useful. Who knows what the brain will observe as you're going. If you're lucky enough, like me, to be able to walk, even better. Take that walk and look around. When you're in a big city, and I live in a small town, but I'm often in London and Paris and New York and other great places, take the time to walk around and watch what people are doing and observe what they're doing. Give yourself an opportunity to think about things a little bit differently. A few years ago when I had a sabbatical, very lucky to have a sabbatical, I was writing a book and I decided I wanted to live in a place that would be different, interesting and different, because when you put yourself in a different place, there's a lot of opportunity for creativity because you're taking yourself out of your comfort zone. Of course, I chose Paris, which is different from America, to be sure, and again, far from a hardship. But the reality is the language is different, the people are different, the culture is different, the style is different, the coffee is different, and all those types of things actually helped. I think they all actually helped me become a little bit more creative, think about things a little bit differently. So, can you be creative? Of course you could. All of us could. All it takes is for us to say, why not? Let's try it.